The harder the crash out, the higher the ascension. Hello, beautiful, positive bitches. I am back and better than ever, at least for this week, but no promises for next. That is the human condition that I know and love. There has been a lot of energy moving around, and I just want to say thank you to everyone who reached out to me and made sure I was okay from last episode. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you, I love you, I love you. And I really just am so proud of the collective that we have magnetized together, because this is a group project and I actually like everyone on my team this time. So thank you so much. I have been thinking a lot about my most recent crash out, because a girl is a crash out-aholic, because I also know the more I crash out, the more I release, the more I'm able to receive. And I am recording this on Wednesday, which is a full moon. Happy full moon in Taurus. Ooh, I just got a text of a picture of the moon from my neighbor Gina. Everything is so synchronistic right now. So maybe you've been feeling the moon. Maybe you've been feeling the tides. Maybe you've been feeling the energy. And I'm not going to lie, we are about to go into a Mercury retrograde and things are they're a little touchy. They are a little intense. And when I say little, I mean a lot. Like I just lied about a little and I actually truly mean a lot. If you've been listening to this podcast, you know I recently lost my Ankh, which is my favorite necklace. I've lost my Kundalini rising ring. I've lost my grandmother. I almost thought I was going to lose a couple other people in my life. Not to death, just to bullshit. Anyway, I really have been releasing. And why are we doing that? Well, they don't call this the year of the snake for nothing, baby. This is a year of shedding, of renewal, of releasing what's not yours. Next year, we are going into the year of the horse. That is fast action, movement, manifestation. That is being focused. This year is really about what no longer deserves. And I really like that word deserves. What no longer deserves my attention. Okay, goodbye. Bye-bye now to the freaking Lou. And going into next year, we need to ask ourselves, what seeds do I want to plant and nurture with my attention, with my focus, with my energy? With all of this release, as you know, as a woman who loves attachment, I was crashing out because it was just one thing too much. It was the straw that broke the camel's back. When you crash out, you have to understand this is actually cosmic preparation for your next highest timeline. I was just eating dinner before and I go to eat my piece of kale and the strongest energy moved through me and I heard, you have just shifted. You have just shifted timelines. If you are listening to this podcast, you are listening because you have recently shifted timelines and this is going to be one of the biggest shifts of your whole entire life. Your energy, your field, it is clearing. It is clearing out density to make room for your destiny. If you feel like you are falling apart, you are actually falling together. And in order for this to happen, you have to clear out, you have to make room. It's energetic law. And I feel like so many different people say the same thing. Yeah, there's only so many ways to frame the same truth. And that is what we are going to talk about today. The fall before the rise, the crash out before the cosmic up level. What's up, positive bitches? How are you doing today? If you're hearing this episode, then you are meant to be here, so keep listening. On that Bitches Positive podcast, sometimes we will laugh. Other times, baby, we're going to cry. Okay, hello, me last week. But we will always walk away feeling our most empowered, positive bitch self. That is babe in true connection with herself, himself, or human self. On this podcast, we unbecome who we are not so we can fully step into exactly who we came here to be. Sometimes the divine has to dismantle what's false before it can deliver what's real. Your crash out is the sound of false realities collapsing. Your crash out is the sound of your faulty programming falling away. Your crash out is the sound. It's the evidence of you finally being ready to become more of who you are and leave all that faultiness of who you are not behind. This shaking, this crying, this screaming is your soul rearranging itself for expansion. Your crash out, it is alchemy. This is not something to fear. It is something to feel. When you are finally giving yourself permission to just show up, to just be, to just release, you are also instructing your reality to give you what you are actually owed, to give you truth, to give you your divine inheritance, to give you your blessings. You are finally saying, I'm brave enough to exist in all that I am. And what does the universe do? Fortune favors the bold. It pays you in diamonds. It pays you in gold. It paves your path all the way to Emerald City. You are standing on the very edge of something you've been praying for. But before this leap, you might have to let go of some of the density so you can actually rise. How can you rise if you're being weighed down by everything you're not? So this crash out, what does it do? It strips all that you're not. It burns away all that you're not. It clears everything that you are not. It's not punishment. It's purification. And when the dust settles, you're going to realize, oh, I wasn't falling apart. I just fell into a much better reality. I just fell into my dream life. I just fell into the exact dimension I've been trying to manifest. Yeah. Before things really shift, they tend to shatter. And that's polarity. That's ascension disguised as chaos. Before things become more uniform, they become more chaotic. The universe will do something that feels like it's pulling the rug out from underneath you, but it's not to punish you. It's trying to pull you into alignment. Before every quantum leap, there is a feeling of free falling. Welcome to your free fall. Now, I do just want to give a little update on me losing my jewelry. I could not wrap my head around why that happened. And it wasn't until I met one of my clients for coffee. My client was telling me he was wearing these affirmation bracelets and they all fell off during his tennis match. As soon as he said that, I said they fell off because you became the living embodiment of those bracelets. You became the energetic embodiment of those affirmations. You didn't need to wear those bracelets to remind you to be positive because you already shifted into a more positive state. And then it hit me, the energy of the snake that I wore on my pinky for Kundalini Rising, I had become. The energy of my ankh that I wore around my neck every single day, I had become. And then I started getting channeled messages, and I filmed one for Instagram and TikTok, which will be up eventually. But my point is, if you have been relying on something physical, like a crystal, like a symbol, like a quote, and you recently have lost it, whether it be a shirt or jewelry, understand you are becoming the living, energetic encoding embodiment of things you used to need outside of yourself because of all the consistent work you have done on yourself. And when this happens, we do lose the item. We do lose our favorite shirt, or sometimes we lose a person because you are becoming the living embodiment of that symbol. If you wore a cross to give you peace and protection, you have activated your inner warrior. And so you don't need it anymore. You can still wear it if you like, but you don't need it because you know it's within you. If you carry around a rose quartz because you are trying to attract love, you don't need it anymore because you have now become the love spell. If you have worn an ankh like me to represent eternal life, the marriage of divine feminine and divine masculine, you don't need it anymore because you have become the living symbol. And I've been working so intensely and intently on remothering and refathering myself. And I have been so focused on having this inner divine union of my masculine energy and my feminine energy. And now it's happened. So I didn't need this symbol to represent, to say, yeah, this is who I am. I have to show it outside of myself. No, I know that's who I am. I know that's what I embody. And I just wanted to share that in case someone else is going through something similar. Let's just have a mantra moment. When I think things are falling apart, I remember they're actually falling together. This is a season of remembrance, remembering the higher perspective, remembering that we are not lost, but finally being found in our wholeness, in our truth. I want to remind you, speaking of remembrance, of polarity. It's a spiritual law. The law of polarity basically states, as far as you go in one direction, you will also go in the equal opposite direction. As many seasons that you have in darkness and pain and grief, you will also have an equal amount of seasons in joy, in love, and pleasure. Polarity is not to punish you, it initiates you. When you go through season after season after season of dating the wrong guys or heartbreak or just feeling like you can not win at your very own game of life, you are actually accessing different parts of the self. You are learning how to become stronger, wiser. You are learning how to make the obstacle an opportunity. Think about working out. Why are you pushing and pulling against resistance? It's to become stronger. Your seasons of crashing out, of feeling depleted, exhausted, upset, those are seasons that are not trying to beat you up. They're forging you. They are refining you. How does a diamond become a diamond? It happens under pressure. How does a pearl develop in an oyster? It starts with an irritant. Okay? These crash outs, these seasons are cosmic preparation. I really find it so interesting that so many people were DMing me, thank you so much for being authentic. Thank you so much for being authentic. What else would I be doing? What else would I be doing? I made a promise to myself if I was going to do this whole shenanigans on the internet, I was not going to be a slave to public image or to caging myself. F that. No. If I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it by being Cece. I'm going to do it by being me, because that's who I incarnated as. Crash outs, I always feel like, are a cosmic permission slip to say, F it, this is what I want, this is what I need, and I won't accept anything else. Contrast leads to clarification. Contrast, resistance, it's how the universe expands our very own consciousness, okay? Without polarity, there wouldn't be growth, there wouldn't be awareness, there wouldn't be clarification on what it is we actually want. When your world feels like it's collapsing, your soul finally gets to rebuild a foundation, but this time on truth. When you feel like everything's falling apart, that is the opportunity to let whatever is fragile break so you can rebuild, but this time from a point of strength. I had some recent really difficult conversations with someone that is in my love life, okay? And there has just been so many things, one thing after the other, that has been difficult to digest and difficult to overcome, and a lot of conversations that are not fun. And I had to remind myself, if this is so fragile that these difficult conversations causes this relationship to break, then I have to let it break. I'm not going to let my soul break. I'm not going to let my heart break by not speaking up for what I need, for what I want. If anything is going to break, it will have to be the connection. And I was thinking today, I think we need to normalize cutting people off. I think we need to normalize leaving situationships, relationships, friendships that no longer serve us. There's only one you, but there's billions of other people you can talk to and be friends with. There's only one you, and it's your responsibility to take care of you, this human that you incarnated as. There's billions of other people, though. So if something is so fragile that it has to break, let it break. For the love of yourself, let it break. Because you're not going to let yourself break because you're trying to abandon the self and betray the self for another. When your world, your identity, your reality collapses, it's collapsing so something better can be built. And I have to say, anytime I've ever had hardship in a relationship, anytime I had a difficult conversation, the relationship either was built back better with a better understanding of one another, or I just had to release it and it wasn't mine. But something that's yours, a person that's yours, a relationship that's yours, It can't leave you. It's not going to miss you. Speaking up for yourself, maybe through a crash out, is always going to be more beneficial than trying to be the good girl, the nice girl, and not saying what it is you actually need. So many of us think, okay, I just got to avoid the crash out. I just have to go with it. I just have to appease them. That's going to help. That's going to do something. That's the answer. No. I would much rather spend the rest of my life alone on a rooftop screaming. Oh, I meant a mountaintop. Whoa. Halloween weekend hitting hard right now. Rooftop, Lord God. Jesus, I meant a mountaintop. I've been playing human. I played human this weekend. I was a siren. And now I'm back to just my prophetic angelic self. But I did just say rooftop instead of mountaintop. Well, there that is. Anyway, I would rather scream from a rooftop, a mountaintop. What else do we got? Bareback Mountain. Is that a thing? What is that? I don't even remember what that is, but that thing. I would scream from anywhere, even underneath a bed. I don't really care. Into a pillow. I would rather scream about everything I need for the rest of my life than pretend like I don't have needs. Because trying to avoid the crash out is what leads to a crash out. Okay? You have to be honest with yourself. You have to be honest with the people in your life. There is no time. There is no room. There is no point to self-betrayal. If you betray yourself, be prepared for that person to betray you too. If you don't speak up for yourself, be prepared for that person to never be able to meet your needs. A crash out is not spiritual failure. It's energetic regulation. If you think about it, you've been trying to keep the peace. You've been trying to keep it all together. Eventually, shit's going to hit the fan and you're going to need a crash out. Crashing out is alchemy. Crying is alchemy. Screaming is alchemy. Movement is alchemy. Crashing out is one of your best spiritual teachers, but also modalities. When you finally say, F it, I'm just gonna scream, I'm gonna cry, I'm gonna let it all out, I'm just gonna be honest with myself. That opens up a completely new timeline where you start to attract from your authentic essence rather than the mumbo, bumbo, BS performance that you've been trying to keep up. Your nervous system, when you have a crash out, is calibrating to hold a new level of power, peace, abundance, and love. You can't sustain new light codes with an old nervous system. The same way you got an updated iPhone, you got to update your software. The breakdown helps you expand your capacity. It helps you understand what's not working for you so you can understand what is working for you. Crashing out is an art form I personally feel I have perfected. Okay? I don't care where I am. Costco, let's light it up. Stop and Shop, I can do it there too. Publix, a sidewalk, the beach, a rooftop, a mountaintop, a bar, a restaurant. I can do it anywhere. Crashing out is essential to your human experience. And maybe you're thinking, Cece, what are you going on about? Why are you telling me to crash out? I'm telling you to crash out because it might be the only authentic thing you've done all this year. That's why. I'm telling you to crash out so you can finally come to terms with how inauthentic you're living. So you can finally see what's not working for you. So you can clarify what is. So you can actually understand who you need to remove and what you need to amp up in your life. This crash out, this is what's helping you take out all that has to go. Your emotions are not a terrifying bear in the woods. They're not out to get you. They're not Michael Myers. Your crash outs, that is a compass within your body saying, hey, the gas is a little low. You need a refill. It's time to re-energize. Anytime I crash out, I always know, oh, I've been overstimulated. There's been a lot going on. I need some time with myself. And what do? I rewatch old videos of SNL. Look, it does something for me. And I laugh. I laugh and I laugh and I laugh. Of course, after crying and screaming, calling everyone in my phone book. Yeah. After that, then I laugh. Sure. Yeah. And I go to sleep. And then I wake up and maybe the crash out's still there. But, it might be a little less intense. Some practices, whether it's watching old clips of SNL or a reality show that just lightens your load, or stand-up comedy. It's a great way to get out of your head and into your belly, laughing, laughing, laughing. Breath work, grounding, shaking out your body. My favorite thing to do during a crash out is screaming at God and taking my Jesus Calling book and getting onto my knees on my floor, hysterically crying and saying, God, why? I can't do this anymore. I surrender. And then I just reread and reread passages from Jesus Calling, and I just cry, scream. I'm on my knees, and I asked for help. And every time we surrender, that's granting the divine a permission slip to come into our reality and do the damn thing for us. And honestly, at this point, what could I want more? I think I said this last podcast or the one before that. I used to be so specific about what I want to manifest, and I'll do this a little here and there, but really, I so much rather just be positive, be intentional, and say, God, take me to my highest timeline through the highest path. Show me how good it can get. I want to take my hands off the wheel. Jesus, you take the wheel. I'm tired. I'm busy. I want to be human. Divine, take care of it. There's always this really interesting phase you go through right before you quantum leap. That is the liminal space, the void, like being in the airport before you're on your plane to Chicago, okay? This is the space before the up level. When nothing makes sense, time feels really weird. You know what it always feels like to me? The days between Christmas and the New Year is that liminal space. We're not quite in 2025, but we're not really in 2026. And it's this awkward season where not many people are at work. So they're all just hanging around. And what do we do? And what's the schedule? That is the exact weirdo energy that happens every single time before a massive breakthrough. For me personally, I'm crying, I'm screaming, time's weird, I feel off. Maybe I just feel really bloated or I feel super snatched. I'll notice physical differences. My face will just look different. And I will know, oh, time is moving weird. Energy is moving weird. Maybe my appetite is more or less. I will know, I'm about to quantum leap because things feel different. People get so scared when they start to feel different energy, but just understand that's your ticket to a new timeline. You're just still in the liminal space. You're still at the airport, but you have the ticket in your hand. Lean into the weird energy. Do not look back. Do not look back like Lot's wife and turn into a pillar of salt. Your divine team is saying to you today, keep moving forward. Keep your eyes on the prize. We're literally going into the year of the horse. What do horses wear but blinders? Many people think this void or this liminal space or the airport energy is failure or they're doing something wrong. I have so many people around me recently telling me they feel so lost. And I keep telling them, no. You're not lost. You are finding the next version of yourself. You have to go through this uncomfortable short season of being in the liminal space to get to the next level. You are in the cosmic egg. You are in the womb of creation. You are being reborn into a new version of yourself, and you're letting go of a version of yourself that you have practiced being your whole entire life. So of course you feel weird. If you are letting go of the practices, the rituals, the thought forms, the ideas, the belief systems of who you've been your whole life, of course it's going to be kind of weird for a minute. Of course it's going to take time to know yourself again. Of course it's going to take time to learn who it is you actually are. Of course it's going to take time to peel yourself like a banana and release all that you are not. You are not being punished. You are being reborn. This is how it happens. The universe clears the stage before your next act begins. A server clears the table before your next course. You are having your reality cleared and cleansed before this next timeline. And that's why you're crashing out. That's why the tears are streaming. That's why you're thinking back to that ex. That's why your dreams lately are crazy. Your appetite is changing because your whole entire reality and your system is literally updating. It is literally having to crash out so it can expand, so it can recalibrate, so it can be renewed. Confirmation. Tools for when you're between the collapse and creation. Bless the chaos instead of fearing it, instead of trying to control it. I simply say, Christ, let there be light. I cast the burden of this stressful situation upon the Christ within and walk freely into my present moment. I'll say, God, intervene. God, give me eyes to see, ears to hear, and a heart full of discernment so I can walk and see clearly in this present moment, or walk clearly in this path. Talk to the divine. You have a whole entire team that's trying to help you, wants to help you. Talk to them. Speak faith when evidence is gone. Put your faith where your feet are. You don't have to know how everything's going to unfold. You don't have to know even what's going to happen or how it's going to happen. All you need to ask for is strength to get through it. I used to pray for a specific circumstance. Now I say, God, I know you're forging me to be the best possible CC I can be. So I don't need this specific outcome. I need you to just give me the strength. And when I was having, an intense week with this man, I wasn't praying to God, keep him in my life. Please, God, don't let him go. No, I don't pray like that. I said, God, just give me the strength to see what I need to see and give me the strength to walk away if I have to. Give me the discernment to see what I need to see and the ability to walk away if I have to. I said, God, if this is not right, remove it. If I'm meant to be here, then allow it to unfold. Do what you need to do so I can become who I need to become. Because I did not go through every single incarnation to just come back to this planet and do this shit all over again. I'm here on business. So God, do what you need to do within me so I can become the person I need to be. Do what you have to do within me so I can complete my mission, my own soul contract to myself. Hello. Anchor in small daily rituals that remind you that you and your body is safe. I have been making sure I'm working out every single day. Usually I would do like 6 times a week or maybe 5, but usually 6. I've been working out every single day because if I don't, hello, psychosis, how are you doing? Hello, psychosis, how are you doing? Hello, psychosis, how are you doing? Nope, not going to go there. I'm a very energized being, or I'm completely depleted and crashing out. Depends on the day. However, I have a lot going through me because I got my lovely clients. I have you lovely positive bitches who watch this podcast. I have my people on Instagram, on TikTok. I got a lot of energy coming at me, okay? And if I don't move my body, like I said, hello, psychosis, how are you doing? I have to make sure that I am moving, that I am walking, that I'm listening to content that's positive. I make sure that I have my own coaches. By the way, guys, I'm a life and energy coach, okay? I'm an intuitive channel. I give intuitive guidance. If you are going through a crash out season, book a session with me. I'm going to be the one person who's actually going to help you through this, okay? I have my people and then I am your people, okay? I made sure to book my energy session to get recalibrated, to release what needed to release so I can show up as my best self. There are blind spots for every single human being. We all need guidance. We all need coaches. We all need healers to help us learn how to heal ourselves. If you're going through this, book a session with me. I will help you through it. Make your daily ritual sacred again and really have things that ground you, whether it's sun gazing or journaling with the moon or walking in nature. Have something, even just prayer, that grounds you. You can also just take out your journal and write, what am I being asked to release so I can actually receive more? And I'm telling you, the more you just allow yourself to write, you will be shocked at how much you come to learn about yourself. The leap into your next timeline, it doesn't come after the crash out, it's born from it. When you're crashing out, you're releasing all the programming you thought you had to be in order to perform and be perfect. You're releasing holding it together. You're releasing emotion, denser emotions like anxiety and powerlessness and sadness. When you're crashing out, crying is alchemy. You're releasing it. This is why the crash out is alchemy. So many people think, oh, if I experience a negative emotion, I'm going to attract a negative reality. No, experiencing a negative emotion leads to a positive reality because you're releasing it instead of holding on to it. If you try to hold in your crash out, it's as if your backpack will get heavier and heavier and heavier and heavier and heavier. You want to dump out the backpack. How do you do that? By crashing out. screaming into your pillow, doing somatic healing, shaking out your body, going to a kickboxing class, walking, stretching, singing, doing tribal movements on the floor. I don't really care what you do, but you need to get it out. Sometimes that might mean journaling just so you have clarity about what you're feeling. Other times that might mean you got to have a conversation with someone. That's what I had to do. I had to say, look, you're being extremely off-putting. This doesn't work for me. This is what needs to happen. And then you just have to see people will either rise to meet you or they won't, but you do not make yourself sick because someone else is energetically ill. You do not become the disease. You do not lower yourself to exist within someone else's lower dense reality. You stand on your pedestal. Thank you. The deeper you're willing to descend, the higher you can rise. And this is why shadow work is so important. I really recommend you get my Shadow Alchemy course. There is a meditation, there's an activation, body movement, journal prompts, and overall teachings by me all about shadow work and channeled messages that are going to help you step into your most abundant energetic self. The deeper you are willing to crash out, the higher you will ascend. The lower you're willing to go, the higher you will be given the chance to ascend. So what version of you is being resurrected through this polarity? Maybe you haven't spoken up for your needs in a while. Maybe you haven't allowed yourself to feel emotions in a while. Maybe you haven't allowed yourself to tap into this feminine energy that sometimes is destructive and chaotic in a while. I literally said today, the feminine energy, she is soft but strong. She's powerful. She is fragile, not like a flower, but like a bomb. Maybe you haven't really allowed yourself to be honest with yourself and others in a while, and perhaps right now is the right time. Now, that does not mean do harm to anyone. No, you never do harm to anyone, but you also don't take any shit. Stand up for yourself, and this just came through with one of my clients. Stand up for yourself, not out of defensiveness, but out of devotion to being vulnerable, to your truth, to your inner child, to your heart. This breakdown is actually your breakthrough. This is not the setback, but the set up. You are not collapsing. You're actually closing out a version of you that no longer resonates with where you're going. If you are listening to this, I could not be more sure of this fact. You are quantum leaping. This crash out is not your ending, it's your initiation. It's the universe saying you can't take that version of yourself where you're going. So if something is fragile and it's breaking in your reality, let it. If it's burning, bless it. Because these ashes, I tell you, they are holy too. Every single time you feel like you are falling apart, you are meeting a deeper truth of who you are, and what you need. You're not losing control. You're giving up illusion. Illusion of who you had to be in order to have love, an illusion of what you thought you needed to have in order to be safe, and you're realizing that your power truly comes from within. The moment you stop fighting the fall, that's when you're finally actually going to rise. The moment you just allow yourself to alchemize all these emotions, you just release them, that is when you start simultaneously in that moment to leap. The harder the crash out, the higher the ascension. So allow yourself to scream, cry, kick, breathe, soften, and trust, because all is truly always working in your favor. You are not collapsing. I promise you, you are catapulting. I love you so much. The sparkle in me honors the sparkle in you. If you enjoy this podcast, please leave a positive review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Talk to me in the comments. I really want to grow this channel this year, going into the year of the horse, of course. And I will see you in the next one. Mwah.